There it is.
There
How's it
it is.
going?
Yeah, what's up, dude?
Hey,
Look
boys.
at you. Looks like you're
Sorry
landing a
about that.
plane. Looks like you're landing a plane with those
He is
things
doing
on.
some
I'm
air
trying.
traffic control.
It's the only ones I could find.
Amazing.
It works
Yeah.
though.
Amazing.
Yeah. They're like in a box of like gift stuff from like 2001.
Perfect.
Does it say?
Yeah.
What's the? Is it promoting some like long gone?
No,
product of the
it's
size?
some. They're they're the
Bang
brand.
and Olufsen?
Mowers and Wilkins, Wilkers or Wilkins.
How come audio names always have
Oh,
two?
yeah.
Yeah.
Except
Hey
for-
man,
Yeah.
Kevin
Hey.
Rahm, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
good to see. Congrats on your new show, dude.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
It's exciting.
it's taking the world by storm. It was came out on Friday, and who knows?
Is it taking the world by storm?
Who knows at this
I
point?
don't. Maybe Poughkeepsie.
Or
Poughkeepsie by
Sacramento,
storm.
because I heard you had a
Where
nice
are you?
premiere. I heard.
We did. We had a lovely premiere. It was at the Anderson household. They were kind
did you-
enough to invite everyone over to their house. Yes.
Did you walk in at the end when it was over? Did you
No, I made a-
did you
put
make
out a-
everybody in the
I-
neighborhood watch you first, and then you came in?
To applause.
Oh
like,
well,
right in
the
front of
the best part is one of our neighbors ran home to grab his wife a sweater because notoriously the Anderson house is hot. Bradford doesn't like to turn on the air conditioner. That's just
Is that-
everyone knows.
Is that the
Don't be
word? Is
surprised.
that the word of
Everyone
the
knows.
street?
Go figure,
Everyone
bro.
knows. Everyone
dude
knows.
does not-
He
he is
likes
so
to,
cheap,
likes
bro.
to keep it at like 75. 75,
He's so
76.
cheap. He's so East Coast cheap. It's amazing.
It really is, and it's like we love him for it. We love him for it.
Do we?
So everyone just plans on wearing comfortable clothes because they're going to be warm.
Right.
And everyone dressed appropriately.
Spaghetti straps that's
Yeah,
what I'm
a
encouraging.
lot of spaghetti straps.
Well, there might be an
I had-
ulterior motive here.
Well, he's not a Superman. And so he was being kind to everyone. It was really hot out, so he turned on the AC. So everybody got cold.
That's
My
right.
wife in particular needed coverage
Right.
because of what she was wearing. So she got a sweater. So one of our neighbors ran home to grab a sweater for his wife. And so we have it queued up. The kids come downstairs and you get like 5 minutes before they're bored, right? So
Oh, yeah,
they're
100%.
They're waiting to watch the show. And they're like, why are we sitting here? What are we doing? How come we're not playing something? And at which point Bradford goes down on the Apple TV. You go down, it has everyone's face on the show. And then you can click on my face and then it brings up other things I've done. At which point he clicks on Friends and we start watching an episode of Friends from 2001. And everyone's like, that's all. The kids are like, what? And they start making masturbation jokes and jokes. And I'm like, oh, this is not, I forgot.
Good old
It's
Bradford.
really funny, but this is not for the second graders in the room.
Well,
So
I
we
just know
watched the
so.
first 10 minutes of Friends.
Yeah, I just know so many kids these days are rewatching Friends. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
maybe
kids in high school.
Yeah, bro,
Yeah.
not
Kids in
8-year-olds.
high school. And by the way, why do you know kids in high school and why are they telling you what they're watching?
Well, my wife has kind of got an ear to the ground about that.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I forgot. That's
stop
fair. That's fair.
trying to make
fair.
me look out like a creep. Good
All
Lord.
right. Okay. Well, first of all, you do have a hot house.
Yes,
All right. So that's creepy
Yeah.
enough. Okay. So Kevin,
But it wasn't the other night. It was nice and cold.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
that doesn't surprise me at all, though.
Yeah.
0%.
Yeah.
Hey, can you tell us about the show? Just give us
Yes.
a little rundown on the show.
A little rundown. Life by Ella is the name of the show. It's on Apple Plus. All 10 episodes are streaming currently. The premise of the show, it's a family dramedy. It's
Cool.
for young people, really. I play the father of a young girl named Ella, who is going back to school, her first day back at school in a year, because she had to beat cancer. So she's cancer free currently. She's going to go back to school and she's kind of reintegrating into her life. She has her cancer friends and her old friends, and some of them don't intertwine very well. And she's just trying to learn how to live again, this time cancer free. And so it kind of, the whole premise is that it made her open her eyes and she wants to live freely and she wants to not live in fear anymore. So
Awesome.
the whole first season is her trying to overcome fears and
Cool.
trying to reintegrate into the world. And I'm her very controlling dad who is controlling in the way that he wants her to be safe and healthy. So he's like
Sure.
making
Right.
really healthy food for her and doesn't want her to go to sleepovers and doesn't really want her to go back to school and wants to kind of, and is kind of hiding, I guess, in a way also by taking care of her from his own problems and issues. But it's him. There's 4 people in the family. She has a younger brother who's the kid's really good, it's really funny, and he's dealing with what it's like to be the sibling, because they kind of get left behind in a lot of ways.
Sure.
And it's it's close to my heart, obviously. You guys know, because last time I talked to you, we talked about my charity thing that Bradford came to this last year. last 2 times, the Rahm Golf Celebrity Golf Tournament in Florida. And so the fact that St. Jude is our charity for our home, and the opportunity to play a parent of a kid with cancer is
Cool, man.
very special.
Yeah, you didn't. I mean, in terms of the stories that you've heard over the years, you had a lot to pull from in terms of experience that other people have had.
Yeah, I mean, twice at the hospital and meeting the families, and then every at my event and also at Patrick Warburton's event, there's always a family that comes and speaks every time, and so you get to meet all of those families and hear their stories. And we have one family in particular that Ty, the son, who's now cancer free, I'm happy to say, and is now a long distance runner, and the kid's a stud in high school and doing great. He, I had a long conversation with him and his mom, and it was free, research. For years,
That's
actually.
awesome. So where'd you shoot this?
We shot in LA, and it takes place in LA. So
Awesome.
we shot at these stages that are pretty new. It's really a bottling factory that they're turning into stages. So it's I can't remember the name of the stages. They called them something, but it's down underneath the 4th Street Bridge.
Wow.
Downtown, where kind of where the 101 and the 5 kind of meet, or the 405 and the 5 meet. But it's funny because we shot between November and February, which is the rainy season of LA. And there was one day we came to work and it was actually raining that day. And like they were like, look out, there's big puddles and there's trash cans full of water. And we're like, that doesn't seem appropriate on a soundstage. They're like, well, because it's not a soundstage, actually, it's a bottling factory that they just big open warehouse where we put stages. But luckily they clearly knew where the holes in the roof were, because the holes were not going onto the sets. The rain was not going onto the sets. So there were areas clearly. Well,
you're saying that they built the stages knowing that, being prepared for that, or did they just get lucky?
They probably just got lucky. I was giving them the benefit of the doubt. They probably just got lucky. I was thinking they have to know, like, oh, when it rains, we get a little leak here, so they didn't build that set right there.
Right.
But we had like 3. This place was enormous. It was probably like 4 or 5 regular sound stages.
Wow.
The size of this, and we had 2 of those.
Right.
So everything was inside. We shot a lot of location stuff in LA. The whole place it takes place in LA. LA is kind of one of the characters. I think episode 9 is this really beautiful love letter to LA, like with the lighting and the backdrop of LA.
Cool.
Really cool.
So I mean, have you ever played I'm sure there's characters that you played that have been dads. I think like your character on Madam Secretary was a dad, but kind of an absent dad, right?
Yes. A dad who didn't like his son very much.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but was this the first time that you've kind of played a character where being a parent is kind of like the focus? And if so, obviously you have a daughter who we know pretty well. Like how do you manage? How much do you bring in versus how much do you leave out? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's impossible to leave out. You know what I mean? Like just your own experience, that kind of comes, even if you're trying to leave it out, it's in there.
Right.
I brought all of it, man. It's to be the father of a daughter, and then to live and to have known some of these people who've gone through some of these things. Obviously, I haven't had to deal with it exactly, but it brought up a lot of stuff, man. Just this being powerless and wanting to protect them. I mean, you both know, being fathers of daughters.
There's nothing like worse that parents can go through. Like,
right? Can you imagine? I honestly can't even imagine getting that phone call. There's a scene and toward the end of there's a flashback scene where you see the moment where they get the call. And I mean, I get
goosebumps right now
thinking about it. Right? Yeah. There was no need to prepare. There's this one line in the pilot episode. It's kind of the climax of the pilot episode where I catch her. She's kind of been lying to me about what she's been doing that day, and I catch her and I'm having this conversation with her, and she's talking about the things she's had to go through. And one of the things she says is, I never should have had to discuss harvesting my eggs because I might not be able to bear children again. And there's just something about that reality that just every time she said it, Lily Brooks is the young actress who plays Ella, it would just floor me. Like I couldn't keep it together. Like I would just start crying. And so all of it, but you're right, Bradford, this is the first time that I've got to bring that personal experience of being a father into the role. I played a dad whose kid got abducted, and I played a dad who was like, whatever, my kid's a loser. And I played a parent before, but this is the first time where it's like you're bringing in that reality. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like we all think we can play whatever, right? It's in our minds.
right.
I can play anything.
Sure.
But I don't know that I could have done this the way I'm doing it now without that life experience of being a
Right.
father.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of all your life experience coming into one role.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
it really
pretty
is.
cool. That's awesome.
That scene that you're discussing, that landed in the room pretty significantly too. You know, it's always fun to watch your friends do stuff, and you know, our group of friends knows you pretty well, and so like when you're watching your friend play a character, it is jarring at first, and you know, but obviously you put a lot of your own humor into it, because that's what we do, right? So that was wonderful to see. But then when that scene landed, like we really saw you in a really cool way.
Yeah.
And the room was enjoying the show for sure. But then that when you see your friend coming, really speaking from himself, it felt like, and like going through what you're going through, it's just like the room just kind of was like, oh,
It got quiet for a second.
It did, yeah. But it's gotta, you know, it is for general audiences, as they say. Like, you know, it's you know, because we had a range of kids there from 8 to 13, I think, or maybe, and they were all engaged. And it is the little girl, the young woman,
Lily Brooks.
Yeah, Lily Brooks. I met her at the tournament this year. What a fantastic
she's a
young
powerhouse,
lady.
man.
How old is she?
She is 16 because she just got her driver's license. She's 16 playing like 13.
Yeah.
And she that scene in particular, that was for the pilot, but we ended up scheduling stuff and we shot it much later in the season. That one scene that was like the last scene to be shot for the pilot episode.
Yeah.
And it's a very emotional scene. It's a long scene. I think it's like 4 or 5 pages, which is a long scene.
Do you think, Kevin, that worked in your favor?
Yes, I do. I really do, because we had a lot more time with each other. I mean, I think it would have been good. It was a really well written scene, and it was a powerful emotional scene. But I feel like the time on set together, that gave us more history, right? And so we were freer with each other. But the compliment I'll give her is, I mean, that's a difficult thing to pull off. Being emotional in a scene repeatedly, anyone can do it once quickly. But to do it with the wide shot and do it with her coverage and my coverage, and now we're going to do this 2-shot, and you know, I was kind of player coach on the show with the kids, trying to, you know, explaining to them, okay, save your energy for now, because now it's on me. You don't have to give everything. If you mess up, don't worry about it. Just kind of keep going, because I don't need, you know, just give me the cue, and let's save some time.
This isn't my first show, Dad. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, it's not her first show, but like, you know, everybody has, you know, can learn. And I was trying to protect her on that, and she brought it on my coverage, on her coverage, and I was like I appreciate what you're doing. Save it though. Save it for your coverage. Make sure we get it when the camera's on you. That's when we need to see this. And she just kind of kept, and like she was also had the wherewithal to go, I need a minute. And I was like, at 15 years old, I wouldn't have had the gumption, or
at 30 years old, at 30 years old, I needed you on the set going, hey, don't give it your all every freaking take. Right. Because by the time they do get to you, you're like,
the wherewithal to go, I need a minute to prepare, to get in the headspace, to give me a second, and then I'll be ready. And I was like, that's awesome. It's unreal. She's a natural talent. Man. Yeah, she's really, really talented.
Hey, my kids were excited because she was, you know, as a lot of kids are now, I think they're cycling through so much content. And one of the shows that my kids did watch at one point was The Big Show. And she played the daughter on that. And so if your kids or grandkids, you know, they'll recognize this girl, which is kind of fun. But it surely is a show for kids and adults, a show you can watch with your kids.
Yeah. You don't know, Bradford, is that afternoon, because I had to watch it by myself before I sat down with everybody to watch it. I couldn't let that be the first time, because my wife, if she talks in a TV show, I stop the show and I'm like, we're not talking. If you have any questions, write them down. We'll have a discussion afterwards.
Write them down
during the show,
and please
I
give
have
those
seen
questions.
just as much as you have, so I don't know the answers, because I've seen just as much as you have. We don't know yet. They will tell us if we listen. So I can't. So I had to watch it beforehand, right? So and I had like a couple left that morning before we watched the premiere at your house that night. And your daughters came over that afternoon, and we had a couple left, and they got sucked in, and they've seen like the last 2 or 3.
Oh, that's funny.
They sat down with Hunter and Amy and I on the couch, and they were all just like this. Like it's the demographic is 10 to 16-year-old girls. That's what they're looking at. Which hence that's why they hired me, because that's my.
Yeah,
I mean, they love you. They love you.
Oh, look, we know it's all one big happy family in your neighborhood. Let me throw that for a second.
You're just jealous. He's jealous.
I'm not that jealous anymore because I know this is your fan club president. So, I'm going to speak kindly about your fan club president while we're here. But let me ask you this question, then we'll move on to the important stuff, our plane ride.
Yeah.
So like with streaming, is there a particular time when you get a pickup notice, or do they just kind of wait to see how it pops, or is there any formula?
This is my first time
on streaming
with a show on a streaming platform that has a chance to go on.
Okay.
We were told that Apple notoriously does not make a decision until it's on the platform.
Sure.
And I do know that these kids, she's 16 playing 13ish. The son is Aiden, who plays Grady, he's 12, he's 13 playing 12 or 10, so like these kids are going to grow fast. So
like they better go.
Clock is ticking.
Yeah, it's like the Stranger Things kids.
Yeah.
They're now they're 27 and
they grew up real fast.
They grew up quick. Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I having watched all 10, there's an argument to be made that could be it. After watching that, after seeing the 10th episode, I'm like, I mean, that could be a standalone thing, and we move on, and we don't know. There's a cliffhanger aspect to the last episode that you could move on. I don't know. I haven't talked. I know the writers, Tim and Jeff, were who are the guys who did Bunked. Their background is they did the sitcom Bunked, and now this is their first dramedy, their first single camera show. They had already pitched a season 2 and a season 3, and they had a Bible ready, and they had ideas for stories. And so I know there's stories ready. There's more stories to be told. The little feedback that I got has been positive from people who've actually lived through the experience. And that's the most important feedback that we can possibly get, is that we're serving that story well. And I think it's good for kids who haven't had the experience, just to like live through it. I mean, just to live through it emotionally and see how lucky they are in that sense. You know what I mean?
It's a great way to expose kids to something, because we want to protect our kids so much,
Right.
When we grew up, we were kind of free to roam, go do what we wanted to do. Speaking, Kevin, I know how we had a nice conversation. Like we didn't, I don't want to say we were latchkey kids, but we had the freedom we kind of learned a lot on our own and saw some things probably early on that you wouldn't want your kids to see now. But this could be a great way for kids to see a story, to know that other kids do go through this and have compassion and, all the things that we want to teach our kids.
I think the storyline of her coming back to school and the feelings that come up with that and the anxiety that comes up with that. I mean, for other kids to relate to that, like, hey, I'm not coming back from this, but like whatever is that thing that makes you anxious to walk into a room, right? But that's what art is about, is hopefully conveying the human experience and building empathy. But for kids especially, that it's a really amazing story to tell. And
the catalyst for her is cancer, but the theme is overcoming fear in life, and like saying, I'm scared of this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it anyway, and my life's going to be better because of it. I think that's just a great story for kids to hear.
Yeah,
totally.
Speaking of great stories that will live in infamy.
My wife and I got invited to a couples golf tournament in Bowling Green, Kentucky, at a place called Old Stone.
How'd it go, by the way?
It was my wife's first competitive rounds of golf.
Cool.
We were still talking at the end, which I think was a huge positive.
Hey, that's a win, buddy.
We were a team, obviously, right? That was a big, because we're still figuring that world out of how to compete together.
I didn't know that was a world. Truthfully, I didn't know that there was a couples like a realm of.
There's a whole circuit. There's a whole circuit, man. There's a whole circuit.
Now,
I'm just kidding.
Are there?
I'm just kidding. Never.
I'm
never
there
again.
are. I'm sure there are other ones. This one.
Right.
This is like I'm kind of like a member guest. What?
Okay, but
Right.
are there other components of it that you're either expected or not expected to participate in?
No. And by the way, if they're not, I'm offended we weren't invited. I mean, you at least give me a chance to say no. Invite me.
Those days are over, buddy.
Damn it.
But yeah, we were.
No, it's
go
great.
ahead.
There were 16 teams in our flight, and we were tied for second place with 5 or 6 teams
Nice.
going into day 2, and then we ended up being in 5th place overall. So we held our own. A couple people went really low day 2. So
Yeah,
we had fun. It was
Great.
hot. It was like hot as in Sacramento with today, but with all of the
The
humidity.
humidity. Yeah.
Oh.
So, so I get on the plane, right? I'm gonna just.
Yeah,
fast forward a little bit.
so my wife and I we're flying there to Kentucky.
From Sacramento down to
Going
Orange
to
County.
Nashville. Yeah, going to Nashville.
To Nashville. Yeah, to Nashville. So I get on the plane. I see Kevin and Amy there, and I'm like, oh, cool. And they had a middle seat open between them, and it just felt like I was getting rushed to. Couldn't say really high. I was just like, getting the cattle herding was happening. Right. I was
Right.
being pushed. So I put my stuff up. And I kind of told Bradford the story, but I put my stuff up there. And as soon as they said, this is a full flight, the panic I saw in his eyes that somebody was going to sit in the middle or right there was amazing. Cause he stood up, he goes, get up. And that was it. Right. So I got my stuff and I'm going, now I'm swimming upstream, hitting people because I'm like, I got to get in that seat, And so anyway, I got up there and Amy watched a movie for half the time and you and I talked and great conversations. And I know Bradford, was really jealous. He really felt a little jealousy. He told me, he was just
we took a great selfie and sent it to him.
We did. We, our relationship's deeper now.
Yeah.
I don't want
It
you to
is.
feel
It is.
threatened. And I keep my AC low, Kevin. So anytime you're hot, come over.
Here too.
That's true.
Here too.
Yeah.
So, but it was great.
You might need some socks to sleep in at our house. I'm just saying.
There you go. I love that.
He does have some nice fuzzy socks. Yeah, no, there was some FOMO for sure. Some fear of missing out for all those people that don't know the acronyms. But yeah, no, it was one of those things where it's like, there's no way.
Yeah.
That's
He goes, how did
I know.
what?
It's so random.
That
So random.
routing is
well,
so
and also
random.
the routing. We went from Sacramento to Orange County, and then that
Nashville.
was our way to Nashville. And
Weird, right?
The same day you happy going to Nashville.
the things that had to align for that to happen. It was pretty remarkable.
And it was awesome. We had a great conversation for 4
Great
hours.
conversation, yeah.
And
Because Steve and I, we've hung out a couple of times. We've had dinner. I've hung out at backstage at one of the shows.
Yeah.
But we haven't, the two of us, ever sat down and really talked about life and what things mean and the power of things and what we're going through. And so I really enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I appreciated it too.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, now I really feel bad that I missed out on that. I mean,
I feel like Steve, the thing is, Steve, I feel like in 4 hours, we got deeper, you and I, than Bradford's capable of.
There
You know what I'm saying?
There
Like,
you go. That's it. That's
and
it. That's it.
The several years of living. I mean, he's my neighbor. I'm at his house all the time. We drink together often.
Well, that's
and I just
that's
feel
the
like
problem.
It's the capability
Right.
of opening up. You know what I
Well,
mean?
so,
You know, Steve
when
did
you're
it on an airplane with
Yeah.
people walking by.
When-
Naturally, Bradford is the point.
Well-
It just comes naturally to Steve.
Well,
Yeah.
it comes with sobriety too. So
Some would argue this the other way. Usually it's
That's
the
true.
alcohol,
That's
the
true.
truth teller.
both
Very
both can
toxic,
happen.
man.
Trust me.
Yeah,
We know. We both
both can
know.
happen.
Yeah.
We all know.
Well, and these are the weeks when we find out.
That's true.
Yeah. So
Where are
on
you
the
guys
road.
right now?
we're in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a show here tonight, and then Kansas City, Omaha, and Chicago, and then.
Love Kansas City.
But I'm glad
Have
to
you
be
picked a barbecue spot in Kansas
in
City?
Kansas City. We've
We have. I mean,
experienced a bunch
we've
already.
ordered. There's Gates Barbecue. There's a bunch of whatever. We'll figure it out.
Well, because you come to
Alright.
Kansas City often for a charity
Yeah.
tournament or charity game, the Big Slick, and
Yeah, once a year to the Big Slick.
So is there one that we should hit if we haven't?
Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble because I don't remember all of their names, but I'll send you a list. There's like 4 or 5 that every year. that come and feed us there. I'm
Nice.
terrible because I don't remember.
Yeah,
names right now.
send a
There's
list.
some-
We'll
there's some really good ones.
DoorDash
There's
some.
some-
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
DoorDash
there's some
it.
really good. There's like you got to get burn ins at one, and you get the the ribs at the other one, and
Well, Casey's a dry rub, or is the St.
Casey's
Louis
a dry rub. Yeah,
Yeah.
Casey's a dry rub. Yeah, it's really
Right.
good.
Yeah.
It's really
Okay.
good.
Don't say it, Bradford.
Okay. Yeah.
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 Moving on.
Dry rub. It's
moving
just like me in high school.
There you go. There you go. That's
Kevin and Rob, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, tip your servers. Try the
Oh,
veal.
Your service. He'll be here all week.
My gosh. All right. Life by Ella is available now on Apple TV Plus. If you search it on whatever like smart TV you have, it'll tell you how to get there. You can go to the web, you can go to Apple TV's, we can search it on the internet and find everywhere, but it's on the Apple TV Plus streaming service. So
Yes.
Yes.
a lot
Check
of
it
great
out.
shows. That's
All
where the
10
more
episodes.
that's where the morning show was. If you watch the morning show, it's
Yeah.
the same place.
Go watch it.
Yeah, it's a really fantastic
Ted
show.
Lasso.
Oh, it's right. Ted
There you
Lasso.
go.
You're right. That's
There you
maybe
go.
more. Yeah.
Sweet.
So
Yep.
there's lots of good
Yep.
reasons to have it.
Me, Reese
Uh,
Witherspoon, and Jason Sudeikis. Right
That's
there on
you're the
Apple TV.
dream team.
Hey, that is the dream
And
team.
now everybody but John Hamm, evidently.
Oh, that's right. That
According to-
marketing
according to the
campaign is
commercials.
pretty great. Yeah, yeah. And now, I mean, you should make up a little promo, like, and send it. You should. I'm going to make you a graphic with you next to the Apple
There
TV
you
Plus
go.
that you can send to Ham.
Still no ham.
Still no. Yeah. So, hey, man.
Kevin, thanks, buddy.
Great catching up.
Thank you,
with
guys. Appreciate
and, Congrats
Yeah.
on the new show. It's
Safe
great.
travels. We'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
All right,
All right,
sounds
brother.
good, buddy.
Later,
All
bro.
right,
Thanks.
stay well.